Hi guys, I'm Bri.
And I'm Alli. This is Offscript.
If you think about it, books are potential scripts for movies.
When this adaptation happens, typically it's disappointing because they went off script.
In this series, we will be talking about how off script they went. Hello.
And welcome to our podcast.
Called Off Script.
And we are your hosts.
I'm Bri.
And I'm Alli.
And it's the middle of our summer.
Oh, so hot.
Yeah. So you're probably going to hear beautiful fans in the background.
Yes.
Because we are with my animal friends, Roscoe and Aspen again. And Ziggy and Beaker. But that means we don't have air conditioning here.
Yeah, it's so hot.
Yeah. Like, even with 2 fans and air conditioner on in the other room, I still feel like we're in a sauna.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Washington.
Hey, I actually don't know what I'd rather.
Would you rather?
Crazy heat.
Or extreme cold?
Yeah.
No,
I like the heat, but I like the cold when I get snow. If it's just cold for no freaking reason, it's the worst. But if there's beautiful snow outside, I'd prefer cold. With a hot chocolate and snuggling up, watching a movie.
I always think cold because it's easier to put, like, add blankets or add sweaters or things like that. Whereas when you're hot, man, I could strip down nothing and still be hot. And I'm like, can I take my skin off? Like, what do I do?
It's too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've been enjoying it because it's like we had that stupid hot 90-something day. And now it's been in the 80s.
I'm really excited. We're supposed to go down to like the 70s next week.
Oh, nice. See, that's
like,
perfect.
yes. Yeah, that's what I want.
70s. Yeah, that's the good temp.
Yeah, that's what I want. But that's not where we're at.
Not yet.
It's been nice because I've been hanging out at John's. And so being right on that water, that's been nice. I've been like, oh, yeah, cool. Yeah. I can get used to that.
Right. Yeah. We've just been doing a whole bunch of stuff. We went to the zoo today, and it was like, why did we do that?
Yeah, I bet that was insanely hot.
It was hot.
Oh, shit, my birthday was yesterday.
Apparently.
Wow.
What did you do?
Well, this past weekend, it's weird talking about it. We're recording in July, like I said.
Half the time, we just talked about how it's the middle of July, and it's super hot, and now we're like, wow, it was my birthday yesterday. We confuse ourselves, so we hope we confuse you too.
I'm looking at the release date for this, and the release date is August 26th, which means this is coming to your ears the day after my birthday. Mm-hmm. And so my birthday weekend, my grandpa's in town with my aunt and uncle, and then my cousin's boyfriend's family too. And we're all going to the Mariners games because the Mariners are playing my grandpa's favorite team, the Giants. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to all 3 games that weekend. And I got to pick the seats for my birthday. And we did a birthday, whatever. I've got a birthday dinner on the 24th. I can't remember where we're eating. And then on my birthday, my favorite band in this moment is in town. And so I'm going to that.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be fun.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Where's the band playing at?
Seattle.
Are you going to just like rent a hotel up there and just do a Seattle weekend? Because like driving.
Maybe I should.
I think that, yeah. Driving, doing Seattle.
Becca if me and John can just.
Or that. Because doing Seattle traffic 3 days. Because you're going to all 3 Mariners games, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well,
it's like a nightmare.
Third day is my parents are coming with. So they were going to drive us.
Okay.
And then Saturday, I feel like it wouldn't be too horrible because then we stay for dinner with everyone. Right. Oh, and that's also my birthday game night in Seattle.
Oh.
You remember that conversation?
Nope.
We were so excited because my aunt and uncle are in town and they're like big gamers too.
Okay.
And so we're like, yeah.
Are you going to Mox?
No, Becca's.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Because they have a little like lounge area that's got a bunch of tables and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what day is it? On your birthday?
No, the 24th.
24th.
Yeah.
I better write this down.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Cool. We'll get all the details on a mini-sode coming up here.
I also, part of the picture, I just had to laugh because we haven't recorded all of our August episodes. Like, we've recorded a few back to back while I've been house sitting for my friend Megan, but somehow every single August episode got recorded here.
It really did.
Apart from Omens was half here, half at Nerd Party. So
You like live here now.
yeah, basically. Thanks, Megan and Michael.
But I guess we should say, yes, we're season 5, episode 4. And you ready for this doozy of a title? Oh my gosh, this book is called Foxcatcher, the true story of my brother's murderer, John du Pont's madness, and the quest for Olympic gold. Or the movie's called Foxcatcher.
I was so mad when I read the title because one of my favorite parts about watching this movie was how I had no idea what was coming in the end. And I wanted Allie to get that when she got to read the book and watch the movie. And then I read the title and I was like, oh crap, Allie, don't read the title. And then I started the book before her and I was like, oh crap, Allie, read the title. It just like right off the bat tells you what's going on.
It really, yeah, it does. And it's like not a fan of John du Pont throughout the whole book.
No. Well, I mean,
I understand why, but
same, sir. Same.
Yes. Okay. So I guess trigger warnings. We just said there's a murder. Mm-hmm. There's a murder in here. Mm-hmm. How does Michael Scott say it? There's been a murder in here. Had to. All right. So our synopsis is the riveting true story of the Olympic wrestling gold medal winning brothers. Jeez Louise.
Well, you know what's hilarious? Today I just went back and I was listening to our Marley and Me episode.
Why?
I stopped listening to us like forever ago.
Well, you listen to us as you edit it.
I know. So part of me was like, I shouldn't listen to us. Why did I?
Why do you feel guilty to listen to our own podcast?
Right? No, everyone. We just keep getting compliments about how funny we are. I'm like, what are you saying? Let me go back and listen. So I went back and listened. You had a hard time with that synopsis, and you're like, oh my gosh, can I ever just read it?
I know I've been doing okay. Season 4, I did better.
I was gonna say, so far season 5, you've done fine.
This one, well, because I thought it was just gonna say talk about him, and then it's like, oh, it's talking about the brothers. That's gold medal winning brothers. Let me just start over. Mm-hmm. I'm also sitting not straight on the screen. I'm gonna have that be the reason.
Okay. I see everything
slanted.
2D.
Okay, the riveting true story of Olympic wrestling gold medal winning brothers, Mark Schultz and Dave Schultz, and their fatal relationship with the eccentric John du Pont, heir to the du Pont dynasty. Mm-hmm. There we go.
Good job.
Thanks. Mm-hmm. We have author David Thomas and Mark Schultz, director Bennett Miller, screenplay writer E. Max Fry and Dan Futterman. Well, that's fun. Audiobook reader Stephen Mendel.
I'm actually shocked that it wasn't Dave.
Dave died.
Nope, not Dave. Mark.
Wouldn't that be something if it was Dave? Man.
Wow, how did I do that? No, I think what trips me up is just because Mark plays Dave in the movie. So then,
right. Oh my gosh. No, so this audiobook reader, he sounded like old school preview voice, like,
oh god,
coming
summer to theaters.
Yes. So the whole time I was like, oh my gosh, it's so dramatic.
Oh no.
Yeah. So that was my experience. Mm-hmm.
Good one.
Yep. All right. The book came out. Listen to this. The The book came out. Wait a second.
I know. I'm thoroughly confused.
Yes. No, this is right. The book came out November 18th, 2014, and the movie came out November 14th, 2014, which is a 4-day difference, and the movie came out first.
What?
Yeah. Well, you read the thing at the end. It explained it.
It didn't explain that.
Well, it explained that someone had gotten his story, and he...
Oh, yeah, because he had, like... Oh, you're right. I forgot. You're right. Yeah, he had this,
issues.
and he just wasn't... Yeah.
So at the end, he had back issues, so he's like, fine, I'll just sit down and I'll type my story. And then someone got a hold of it. The director
got a hold of it.
And he's like, oh my gosh, this needs to be a movie. And he started trying to make it a movie since 2006. Mm-hmm. And so they're just trying to make it a movie.
He went and made Moneyball and all this stuff. And he was like, well, I guess it's not getting made into a movie. And then...
Yeah. And so...
well, that's actually really cool.
But I thought it was cool that 4 days. Like, they were so close. Why couldn't they just make them come out the same day?
Well,
movies come out Fridays and books come out like
Mondays.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Still, I would have made an exception.
I know. Or like have the book come out the week of the movie. I guess maybe what they wanted was like, maybe they wanted to have the book ride the success of the movie.
I don't know what it was.
I don't know.
It was interesting. Yeah, well. What'd you do first?
I saw the movie first, and oh my gosh.
Did you see it in theaters?
No. No, it was one of those... It was before I started making myself watch Oscar movies before the Oscars. Mm-hmm. And so I had watched the Oscars that year, and Foxcatcher was one of those ones where like things were nominated
5 times.
Yeah, and I was like, I haven't seen that. Maybe I should. And then like over the summer, no,
this winter break. And when do the Oscars play?
No, nope. Oscars are in like March, so it was way after it was out. Oh, it was probably spring break.
Okay,
maybe because me and my uncle watched it streaming.
Oh, okay.
Or we rented it from Redbox when Redbox was the thing.
I know. We're dating ourselves.
I know. Anyways, and so I went into it not knowing the story, and he went into it knowing the story. So then when it got to the murder part, I was like, what? Because I was just expecting like this, like with how the story had played out and where it was going when John du Pont showed up at the at his house. I just kind of thought he was like gonna throw a little hissy fit and like be like, I don't like your relationship with your brother, blah blah blah, like all that.
Yeah. Even after him shooting the gun in the house?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just thought he was insane. I did not connect the dots. And so then when it happened, I was like, holy shit, what?
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Just banging around. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I read the book first. Mm-hmm. And so I knew what happened from the title.
From the get-go. Yeah, I was really sad. But then I was like, you know what? This is one of those ones where I'm glad I saw the movie first.
Yeah.
Because I really think like one of my favorite movie going experiences is when I went and saw Prometheus, because I don't think I've explained this on the podcast ever. I don't watch movie trailers unless I'm in the theater watching the previews for movies, because previews give away way too much nowadays. And I'm sick of seeing the whole movie before I've even seen the movie. Like I used to watch the trailers all the time, but then once they started doing that, I was like, shoot, I want a surprise from these. And Prometheus, when I went and saw Prometheus, I had only seen the teaser. Like, it was the only trailer I had seen. And my uncle, the same one that I saw Foxcatcher with, he had seen all of the other trailers. And he was like, how have you not seen the other trailers? Because he asked me if I wanted to go with him and his work buddies. And I was like, it looks cool. Like, it looks like a cool outer space astronaut story. And he was like, wait, you don't know what it's about? And I was like, I mean, I know, and I don't remember what the teaser was, but I was like, I know this. And he was like, oh, you're going. I was like, why? And to preface it, everyone, Alien and Predator are like my top movies. I love Alien and Predator so much. I'm so excited. Oh, at some point in August, I will have seen the new Alien movie that's coming out, and I cannot wait. But I digress. So I go into it knowing it's Ridley Scott, who is the director of Alien.
Okay.
But I did not think he was making Alien movies. So I just think he's making a Prometheus movie that's about outer space. And like the stories go in and they get to like the little cave place and there's a bunch of things that look like alien eggs. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, is he trying to remake his own movie, but in a weird way? And then it got to the end and Alien was in it. And I was like, holy shit, what?
Because it's like the prequel.
It's the prequel to Alien. Mm-hmm.
I've seen it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, like, to this day, I'm like, this is why I don't watch trailers. Because my uncle went into it knowing, because he had seen a trailer that had shown Alien. I went into it only having seen the teaser and had no idea. And so, with this, didn't watch anything, didn't know the story, and then... Yeah.
I wonder if the trailer shows him get shot.
That's a good question.
Let's watch, shall we?
We shall.
So they don't show him shoot anyone, but they show him walk in with a gun
multiple times.
And they say Mark. So it looks like he's going to shoot Mark, if anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. But anyway, so I guess you kind of sort of answered your initial thoughts.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it because of the twist that I had no idea about, even though if I, was cognizant about news and things like that.
Yeah, this is kind of probably a big story. I didn't know it either, though.
Yeah. But, we were a lot of it happened in, 96.
We were a whopping 4 years old.
So, but, I also feel like, say Ted Bundy was, thriving when we were 4. I feel like we would have remembered that,
right?
But yeah,
but it's kind of cool we're doing it right now because the Olympics are going on.
I thought it was so funny.
How long do the Olympics go? They're probably done by now.
In August, probably. I think they go for a month. But when I watched this movie, I had no idea that the Olympics were coming in. I had to watch it on Peacock. And the first preview or trailer ad that they play is for the Olympics. I was like, huh? What?
You didn't know the Olympics were coming?
No, I don't pay attention to the Olympics. Yeah.
I love the Olympics.
I don't get it.
What do you not get?
I just don't get it. Yeah. Why they already do the sports stuff. Why do we have this competition that happens once every 4 years?
Because it's all
it's everyone.
Yeah, it's to see if America's better than China or Turkey's better than Russia or Australia's better than England. I'm just pulling out countries.
So it's a war amongst the countries without weapons.
War. Yes. Okay, yeah, August 11th, I think, is the last day.
Yeah.
So it's not even a month.
Oh, okay.
I just think they're fun to watch. Because it's just fun to see everyone man, that's cool. I wish I could do that. So have you never seen the movie? Have you seen the movie Eddie the Eagle?
I wanted to because I like, what is his name? Edgerton? No. I feel like...
Hugh Jackman's in it.
Wait, yes, I did watch that one.
Oh, gosh. I freaking love that one. I want to watch it with the kids, I think. I think they would get a kick out of it because Hugh Jackman's just like...
Hugh Jackman's
everything.
I love Hugh Jackman.
But it's so you don't like Olympic movies or anything? Oh, man.
I don't purposely seek them out.
Okay. Well, I'm going to enjoy them.
Yeah, you enjoy them.
I will. Okay. So why did we pick it?
Because of my experience with the movie. When I found out it was a book, I was like, ooh, I want to read that. I remember my initial reaction to the movie. And then, man, the book started with the huge twist right off the bat. And I was like, oh, this isn't going to be what I thought it was.
Was it?
No,
It was not
no.
at all.
I think, again, I went into this one thinking it was going to be like I want to say a story, but that sounds rude. Like, because
No,
it
I know
was a
what
story, but like, I pictured it following the movie a lot more rather than doing its thing.
Which is really funny because the nonfiction books that we have done, other than I'll Be Gone in the Dark, so Two Kisses for Maddie and Social Network, they're a lot like this, where the book and the movie are, or the book is like chunks and pieces here and there, but they follow a story.
Yeah.
Which is what Foxcatcher did.
Yeah.
But then the movies make it a movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's funny that you thought it would not be like that.
I didn't realize it was written by the brother until we started reading and getting prepared for it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
then I read the title and was like, oh. But I also still hope that he would have kept that secret until the end.
It's like, F this. Everybody needs to know.
He's like, this is the story about how my brother died.
All right. Well, let's do it. I got some Alli super fun facts for you.
Yeah.
Steve Carell claimed that according to the director Bennett Miller's wishes, there was no joking between takes and he did not socialize with the co-stars after work. I hate that. Okay, I didn't answer my initial thoughts. I thought both were awful. Okay, awful is a strong word. I just couldn't stand them.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
I feel for the guy, but I'm like, the movie, the music was weird, and it was just so depressing. Which is, I mean, it's a depressing story.
It's a depressing story and it's an art film.
Yeah. And then the book, I feel like if someone really liked wrestling, they would love the book.
Oh, for sure.
Because it was just so much detail about wrestling.
Half the time I was like, what the fuck is happening?
It's like pages and pages go on about how he does this move.
He has to hook the body and tackle them down, pin them, and ride them. I was like...
And you could, I don't know if you could tell, maybe it's just how the audiobook reader read it, but you could tell it was not an author writing a book. I was just like, okay.
I mean, you could tell, but you could tell it was someone who was passionate about what they do.
Yes. Yes. But yeah, there were some like phrasing and word choices and sentence structure that I was like, this doesn't really flow super great well together, but you're not an author, so it's okay. But all I could think, I actually made a video in the TikTok, and I was like, I hope that Steve Carell, they got to play and joke around in set, because otherwise they must have been so depressed for these few months. And then I got this fun fact. I was like, oh no.
But I, like, for that, I get it. Like,
I get it. It makes sense, because I mean, you got to stay in this depressing, psychotic character. It's just like,
and if you're not a method actor, then of course the director is going to try and get you to do it as best as you can.
So freaking depressing. I just wouldn't have fun at all. According to Channing Tatum, according to Channing Tatum, he and Mark Ruffalo spent intensive 5 to 6 months training for wrestling, which took a toll on the actors. During one particular physical take, Channing insisted that Ruffalo just slap the shit out of me, excuse my language, and get it over with, which resulted in Channing's eardrum accidentally getting popped. And that's the take that's in the film.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's actually awesome.
I'm like,
that's insane. Ruffalo probably felt bad.
Dude, yeah. You know what? After something I've learned doing this podcast, because, we really have to sit there and think and watch and critique and edit these movies in our head, right? I'm like, being an actor would freaking suck. Like, you initially just think, oh, celebrity, cushy life, everything like this. But it's like, I mean, think of your like a normal day-to-day job sitting at a computer. You just sit there all day, right?
Yeah, and then you get to go home.
Yeah, these guys got to run around. They probably have weird working schedules. No,
It's all based on location hours and availability. It's all based on other actors' availability. Yeah.
Ugh, no thanks. And then you're getting beat up and you can't have fun on set. Man. Number 3, Mark Ruffalo said the cast and crew were so afraid of Steve Carell as John du Pont that they tried to avoid interacting with him. Ruffalo said that everyone sort of stayed away from him. John du Pont was repellent, so the way they designed Steve's look made him repellent, and you didn't know what to say to him or how to act around him. You never felt comfortable.
That's so sad because I feel like he's one of those people who you feel the opposite.
I know. I feel like he's like one of the most likable people in Hollywood. And I wonder how that was mentally for him.
Probably rough.
Yeah, I bet. Especially going from The Office. And then...
This is why this is my favorite role of his. Because I'm like, this shows that you can do it.
No. Number 4, because the project took so many years to get off the ground, actors were considered for the lead roles. Heath Ledger, Ryan Gosling, and Bill Nye were strongly considered for roles in the earlier stage of production.
Dude, that would have been a great cast too.
I know. Could you imagine Heath Ledger?
Oh, yeah. Bill Nye, though. Holy fuck.
Right?
He'd be creepy.
Okay, which one do you think Heath Ledger would be? He would be Mark, right? Ryan Gosling would be Dave? Or do you think they'd be Flip?
I think Heath would be Dave and Ryan would be Mark.
Maybe. I would picture Mark as the tougher one.
You don't think Heath's tough?
Yeah,
Look at Joker.
That's why I think Mark would be Heath.
Oh, I was thinking of the younger one. Like Ryan's younger, so I would have put Ryan as...
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
If you're doing age-wise, that makes sense. Dude, yeah, Bill Nye would have been creepy as...
I mean, I'm so thankful because, like, I feel like because of this, a lot more people took a chance with Steve in more serious roles.
Oh, definitely.
So I'm glad for that.
All right, last one. Gary Oldman was originally attached to the lead role of John du Pont.
Oh, he would have been good too.
He would have been super good.
He would have been great.
Back in the late 2012. Oh gosh.
Back in the late early
2013. However, scheduling conflicts with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes prevented him from portraying du Pont.
How did I even miss that he was in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes?
I don't know. Have you never seen it?
I haven't. Which is funny because I liked I can't remember if Dawn of is the second or the third one. I thought I saw the first two.
I have no idea. I just know that was Cameron wanted to see a movie, so I got drugged along.
I loved it. I wanted to see the new one, but I also haven't watched any of the more recent ones, so I was like, meh. But I think Gary would have been great too.
I think so. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's.
So the book kicks off with details on John du Pont and how he murdered Dave.
I was so mad. So mad, everyone. This happens at the end of the movie. I was angry.
As we've said like 12 times.
Yeah. Yep. This was literally like, I started the book and I immediately was like, oh man, why?
And then the book continues and we get some background on Mark and Dave's childhood, and they grew up as a family of divorce, and they moved to Oregon with their mom, and Mark hated it. And the brothers were very close to each other, and Dave suffered from dyslexia, which had kids making fun of him until he beat the crap out of all the bullies, and then he became Mark's little protector. And Mark was known as the sports guy in high school because he was really good at any sport he did. Dave fell in love with wrestling, but Mark never really liked it. And he ended up going with gymnastics because he's like, that's going to help me with all sports because I'll be limber and twist and turn and smack and whatever he needs to do.
I mean, that's pretty smart.
I know.
None of this is in the movie.
Nope.
They do make mention at one point that the parents are divorced, but I felt really bad because in the movie they have Mark make a little speech and say that growing up, his dad wasn't in the picture and he was always looking for a father figure. And I was like, that's
I
not
know.
really
That's not true at all.
how I felt from the book. But
No, his dad loved them. And his dad always made him.
live their rent free for
Right.
years and years.
I was like, goodness.
Yeah.
They showed him doing gymnastics because they had to get Channing Tatum doing his flips in there.
Well, I mean, because Mark did backflips every time he won.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So they showed him doing some gymnastics.
Yeah, but didn't tell me that he was a gymnastics person.
No, it did not. While Mark did love gymnastics, he wasn't a confident person. And so he knew that wrestling would help him become confident. And Dave kept getting recruiters and he didn't. So he decided to switch and go for wrestling. Mark was hanging out with the wrong crowd in Oregon and he was truly unhappy. He decided it was time for a switch up, and then we get just a bunch of details about wrestling and moves and workouts.
Yeah, and that does not happen in the movie.
Nope. We have details on how he won the state championship, and it was the first time he really felt like his dad was proud of him.
That doesn't happen in the movie, and I already said how the movie kind of did his dad dirty.
Yep. Just like kisses for Maddie.
Yeah. I do think it was because they needed to, even though they didn't even need to, but for movie and dramatic purposes, they wanted to like have that relationship with Mark and du Pont.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Yuck.
This poor dad.
I know. All right. So we now get to learn about John du Pont. And he also came from a family divorce, and he lived with his mom, and she owned this fox catching ranch and raised horses to go out and people could ride them and catch foxes. And du Pont was very interested in becoming an Olympic swimmer, but he ended up not being good enough. So he tried to find another Olympic thing he could do. He regularly donated money and resources to the police. So he was a very honored volunteer, which means he got to carry a gun and
A badge.
and everything that's like, what? That would not be your thing now.
I hope.
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
We don't know a whole heck of a lot of this from the movie. And what's really funny is, did you catch that in the movie, Foxcatcher Farms is a chemical plant?
No.
Like, that's why the DuPonts are famous and rich, is because they're a chemical, like, company.
But aren't they like really famous and rich for being themselves? Why do they
Yes.
need to make something up?
That's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, what? Plus, like, all the tanks and stuff that they kept making on their ranch, too.
Yeah, like why did
the
they
movie?
keep bringing? He bought a tank and he was pissed off. Yeah, it's gunpowder. That's what I thought.
Wait, are they for real gunpowder?
For real gunpowder.
Oh, okay.
But in the movie, it was, unless it was supposed to be gunpowder, but it looked like
Maybe.
chemicals.
I don't know. I just put Chemical Corporation. Because I think he actually says something about the Chemical Corporation.
I know at the beginning they did do a little gunpowder spiel because they did
Yeah,
like
they
a
did.
little thing. But I don't know. Do they add that in there? That seems like a real big reach.
I know.
So maybe that's what it looked like. They didn't portray it very well.
Yeah.
I was not paying attention that much to notice.
I think it's a line that he says,
Oh, I don't know.
but
Let
I
us
can't
know.
remember.
Tell
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Help us out here.
Do our job for us. Anything else?
No, because the movie starts when Mark's doing his clinicals. So I'm waiting until you get there.
Okay, fair. So then we got details on the colleges that Dave and Mark went to. Both of them ended up going to UCLA. And Mark was a part at a party, and these cops showed up and tried to end it. And then some confrontation happened, and Mark started wrestling with a cop, and he won. But of course, lawyers had to get involved, and his dad paid for the lawyers. Look at that. More
Hey, Dad, what up?
father involvement. And everything was dropped because it was like Mark didn't do anything to hurt him because he just used the policeman's own weight against him. Like, I feel like that would not fly nowadays. You touch a cop and you're in trouble, right? Who knows? Whatever. And then we learn all about cutting weight and how important it is in wrestling. And we find out he lost a tournament because he listened to his coach saying he needed to be in this weight bracket when he really felt like he should be in this weight bracket. And he's like, I decided I need to be my own coach, but yet still have a coach. Like, I got confused. I was like, oh, he's not having a coach. And then the next chapter was him talking about his coach. And I was like, wait a second. What? I was like, wait a second. You just said you need to be your own coach.
Hold on here. No, because I don't think you can go into tournaments
I don't
without
think
a
you
coach.
can either.
So I think it was more so
He needed it to need it. But
he needed a coach that, like, was on the same page as him.
Yeah.
And understood what he wanted and what he needed. And
Right.
what was best for him.
Makes
I
sense.
will say, I've known a lot of wrestlers in my life. And every time they talked about cutting weight or like their weight class or whatever, it all just flew over my head. So it was kind of nice reading this book and then understanding and being like, holy shit, that's what they did.
Right. I think it's so funny. He described it as other than, there was like 3 things. It was like other than terminally ill, like, what were the 3? There was like 3 things. He said, other than these 3 things, weight cutting is the most painful thing you'll ever go through. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But then it was so interesting how much he ragged on wrestling. Like, he really hated wrestling, yet he
Got good at it.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like half the book is him saying how much he hates it and half the book is him defending it. It was very interesting.
I didn't feel like he was ever defending it. I feel like it was like, this is what I got good at, and this is what made me money. So this is how you do it. But man, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, it was just, for someone that's so passionate about it, he hated it so much, it seemed like. Bummer.
I know, poor guy. Which is funny because that's not very well portrayed in the movie either. I never picked up on that.
That you didn't like it. Yeah, I didn't either. So they went out of the country and they started doing wrestling matches. And we learned about wrestling in different countries. And Dave and Mark talked about switching colleges, and they ended up doing so. And because they switched, they have this, it's like a red year or something like that, where they can't perform on the team because they changed schools. So it's like almost like a, what am I trying
Trial period.
to say? Yeah. It's like you're not allowed to do this because you,
Penalty.
yes, thank you. And so, but they're like, we're not going to let our bodies go to crap though. We're going to work out. We're going to wrestle each other. And so that's what they did. And he learned a bunch of stuff from this kid named Israel and just a bunch of different tactics.
That's not in the movie. The movie starts basically after they're out of college and Mark's already won an Olympic medal. Yeah, so I'm waiting for you.
I know. Well, we continue to follow Mark on his wrestling journey. He won a championship and he went to the colleges that he beat and he trained there, and he was beating them again while he was training. And the coach was like, get out of here. Fair. And Dave and Mark would always fight against each other to help strengthen each other and build each other up. And then they went to Russia to complete a wrestling championship match. There's this one guy that keeps beating him. And then we get details on matches back home and all these teammates. And one of these teammates is a really good guy. I can't remember his name.
That was one of my favorite parts about this book, was like every single person he ever had a match against, they ended up becoming like best friends.
Yeah, he described it as you don't talk to them while you're about to go like fight them. But afterwards, like, you respect them because they're really good at what they do. And this is hard. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, literally, he was like, as the book continued on, he would then talk about people he had been in previous matches against and be like, and they're now this coach, or they're now my buddy. This guy was my best man. Like all this.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that wasn't in the movie.
Okay. So Mark won his next championship as a junior. And life goes on. His brother's not there anymore because he graduated. And Mark is feeling lonely. And then he has all this pressure of wrestling because he's like, great, I won as a junior. Who cares? Now I need to win as a senior. And he got this interview
for some paper, and believed he was off the record, and so he shared. He's like, I wish I was at a team where my coach really cared about me, but it was not off the record, and that blew up, and didn't go so well for him. But then he ended up working really hard, and he won the championship senior year, which is all he wanted. Like, it said he hoped God would strike him dead if he lost. And I'm like, what the?
Mm-hmm. He's a competitive guy.
People like that drive me crazy. Like, be happy. Jesus Louise. God.
Well, I mean, he had put a lot of time and effort and basically like life decisions
fair
on this.
But it's like, oh no,
you have to do it next year. Oh wait, no, but this was his senior year, so that's another reason why. It was his last chance to do it.
Okay, but he'd rather die. That's ridiculous.
Well, because if he didn't become the best, he then probably wouldn't be able to proceed to go and do this and make money off of it.
I guarantee he could still be a wrestling coach without.
Yeah, probably.
Whatever. People choose what they want to choose.
This is not in the movie.
After college, here we go, maybe. Maybe the movie's beginning soon.
No, because it's after the Olympics. Because he's at his first school with his... It makes me laugh because he's at his podium and he just lifts up the gold medal.
It was so freaking awkward.
It's like, oh no.
Okay, hang on. We're almost there. That's like, and then you explain how weird that was. After college, the brothers got back together and they moved into his dad's place. And Dave was married now, and Dave encouraged him to do the world championships, which he didn't want to do, but he did. And he was forced to share a room with Dave and his wife, which he didn't like because that screwed up his mentality. And Dave won and he lost. But then they went to Olympic training camp, and Mark's girlfriend was there, and she was so pretty. The other wives of the Olympians said she couldn't be there because all their guys were looking at her. And this guy went on and on about how hot his girlfriend was.
Well, no, because the coaches ended up calling him and saying...
No, I know that, but like him writing it, I was like, he's like, she was hot. Like, she was really gorgeous. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. You got a pretty girl.
But he lost her.
Yeah. Couldn't take her to camp. Everybody was jealous of her.
I thought he was just being, hyperbolic. And then he got to the part where they actually called him about it. And I was like,
I know. These petty women.
I was just going to say, these other wives don't trust their man and don't want a woman there that they can look at. Like who cares?
Right? Oh, gosh. Okay. So Mark and Dave are on the Olympics, and Mark is the top wrestler from Turkey end up fighting. And Mark broke his arm and ended up getting disqualified for that match. But in the end...
Mark broke the guy's arm, not his arm.
Yes, sorry. In the end, he still took gold, and so did Dave. So they got to meet the president, and he accidentally kissed the first lady on the lips.
What a great story.
I know, right?
To be able to tell. That does not happen in the movie.
Mark got fired from his job, and he felt so betrayed by Dave because his brother also worked there. And he's like, why didn't he tell me? He should have known. And he was not in a good place mentally or financially. And he met with this guy that was convincing and said that he'd be his agent and he'd give him 50% of everything he helps bring in. And he's really good at his job. And Mark's like, okay. And it ended up being a scam.
The only thing that's in this part is that Mark's not in a good place mentally and financially. Mm-hmm. Other than that, nothing.
Cut out his whole life.
Yeah. Oh, wait, but you didn't talk about... Okay, so after the scam guy, he then started doing what he kept calling clinicals. But then I realized, because I was like, what the heck? Why is he talking about going? Because like in my head, a clinical is like you have to go to a hospital and like do something with your body for them to like... Look, I'm a wrestler, study what I'm doing. But then he started talking about how he was going to schools for it. And I was like, oh, maybe he's like going and giving talks about like what he does. And so that's where the movie starts, is him giving a talk at a school to get money. And then this is when I mean, it's awkward, but I thought it was hilarious. That's like one of my favorite scenes is when he's at the podium and he just raises it up to these kids and they're just sitting there
it's not he just raises it up. He's like glaring at them all, like, and he just like moves it slowly so every kid in the room can see it. And I'm like,
and then they show you the room, and it's not even like this large room.
Fifth graders that are just like, okay,
they don't give a shit. It's hilarious. And then after that, he's in the office like signing his paperwork. And the receptionist lady like says something to him because she thinks he's Dave, and he goes, "No, I'm Mark. I'm the other brother. My brother couldn't come and give this talk today." Which was a funny little bit in the movie to be like, oh, he's got a brother who does this too and is probably a little bit better. But in the book, that's not the case. This was just Mark going and being like,
because he needed money.
I need money, so I'm gonna do this. And they knew who they were getting.
Mm-hmm. I think that was their way of tricking you more that Mark or Dave didn't get shot.
Yeah.
Because
why would they shoot the one who's better?
No, like, because they didn't, after that scene, they didn't do a however many years before, did they? They made it look like that was present time.
Because that was present.
Right. But then the next scene, they made it look like happened right after, and then Dave came. They didn't ever do a 6 years before or whatever, or 3 months before. Do you know what I'm saying?
Because there wasn't a time jump.
In between Dave doing this, didn't Mark do this because Dave was supposed to and Dave died, so Dave couldn't do it?
No.
That's how I took it.
No.
Because he seemed utterly depressed that they thought he was Dave.
No, because then like what happens next is he's getting the phone calls from John.
Right.
In the next scene when he gets home from that.
I know. I thought they did that strategically to make it look like
no,
this part happened and now this part all happened before this part, but we're gonna make it look like it didn't so that it looks like, so it's evil. It'll throw you off even more that Dave is not dead.
I could see that, but I don't
like. Can you see it? I see it from seeing the movie first. How like, oh no, that makes sense that it's all in order, but it's coming in
knowing that he dies. Yeah. No,
it seems like
the other thing for me is like when an this is big news. This is a big person who's dead. So you would think she would know and not be an idiot. Be like, hey,
you would think, but
Dave.
she didn't even know who this guy was.
That's true. Yeah, I guess I could see it. But I still don't think it's a time jump.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Watch it and tell us.
Please do.
Interact with us.
Okay. So Mark got a phone call from a surgeon vouching for this guy that was about to call him. And this guy turned out to be John du Pont. And John called him with a job offer saying, hey, I'm about to start this wrestling league down in Pennsylvania called Foxcatcher, and I'd love you to be my assistant coach. And Mark said he seemed kind of shady on the phone, but he asked for a salary, and Mark threw out the first number he could think of, which was $24,000. And he came back and agreed, and he's like, wow, okay. And turns out DuPont wanted Dave, but Dave really liked his job at Stanford, so he gave him Mark's name. And when Mark went down to meet with him, John was a total slob. His like hair was like out, like grown. It was like described as orange, and it was like he was just
Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, it was like, what is wrong with this guy? But Mark was so desperate, and he had no money and no health insurance, so he said, "Sure, yeah, I'll take it." Mm-hmm. And $24,000, I looked it up, is equivalent to like $78,000 today.
Jeez. No, I realized. So the next scene in the movie right after this is he goes and practices with Dave. Mm-hmm. And then Dave's like, hey, how'd it go? And he's like, oh, whatever. And then they're talking Mark tells Dave that he keeps getting this weird phone call and like the person never says anything and they just hang up. And then the next time he gets a phone call and we see him get the phone call, it's John on the phone being like, or wait, no, I actually think it is. Yeah. So it is with the surgeon or the person vouching for him. Mm-hmm. But he never has a phone call with Du Pont. It's cool. Du Pont wants to meet you. You need to go to the farm. Yep. And so then right after that, he flies to the farm.
It's freaking weird.
Yeah.
No way in heck would I do that.
Like, you have no idea why he's having you go to this farm. And you're just kind of like, okay.
Like, come down here.
I have no money. Okay.
We don't want to tell you beforehand, but come down. We'll tell you. That's like serial killer. Mm-hmm. So he walked into this one.
Yes, he did in the movie.
Yes.
And then when he's there, he has no red flags. Like, he just immediately is like, yeah, okay, I'm down for this.
I think also, writing it, Mark has so many hard feelings, understandably. Mm-hmm. So I think anytime he had a chance to say what a creep and a horrible person he was.
That's true. He wanted to, explain it and be like, okay, let me tell you. Like, my gut told me not to do this, but I was an idiotic kid who needed money.
And I did it.
Mm-hmm. The other thing on this farm, because now Du Pont is giving Mark a tour of the place, he already has a wrestling training room on the farm, which this is like big issue with Du Pont in the book, is that he doesn't have a place like that on the farm just yet. So,
and it's always it'll be ready soon. It'll be there soon. Sometime soon.
Soon. Because they actually start out, he first starts with having them train at a college campus. Like, they've agreed to, I can't remember the name of the college, but they've agreed to let Du Pont's wrestling team practice. And basically they have to split the room with the basketball team or some other team. Mm-hmm. And they're like, we need our own space. Like, we can't be doing this. Like,
right.
They have a tough schedule to keep too. Like, we can't do this. And then in the movie, Mark is very excited to be getting offered this position. He's like, what? Yeah, I'll take it. And then John doesn't say anything about trying to get Dave first. So I think in the movie, that bit is not something that happened. Also, they changed the names of Dave's children.
Oh, I didn't catch.
Yeah, I was like, what? Okay. Also, can you tell me, was Du Pont's mom alive in the book? I thought she died pretty quick in the book or was already dead.
I don't know, but I know she was not a prominent character like the movie.
Yeah, she's large in the movie.
So this is when we get details about how horrible of a program Du Pont is running. And this is like where we get he doesn't have the area ready. He made Mark fire people, even though it's John's job to fire people. So he's like giving scholarship money that they aren't allowed to give type of thing. And then also as they're trying to recruit people, they're trying to be all schmoozy and like personally fly them in on a private jet and all this sort of stuff, which they're also not allowed to do. And Mark's starting to feel icky, but he's like, okay, we need wrestlers, I guess.
This doesn't happen in the movie. No, after Mark comes and starts living on the farm, which also, did he start living on the farm right away? No, right? That comes later.
Yeah, but where did he live before?
I can't remember. I just know that like him living on the farm was like a short, brief little thing. And then he was like, yeah, I can't do this.
Yeah, that's right.
Whereas in the movie, he just lives there the whole time.
Right.
And one of the first scenes you see is him asleep in the middle of the night. And Du Pont then comes. And it looks like he's watching him sleep through the door at first. And then he knocks on the window to wake him up. And that's to make him go practice.
Yep.
Also, DuPont in the movie from the get-go is all about learning how to wrestle himself and like train himself. And so like he wanted to wake him up so that he could go train and go wrestle. Whereas in the book, he was like the person who would go and watch and like, oh, you guys are doing great. Good job.
Right.
Stayed out of it until he got real crazy.
So John continued to be shady, and he invented an award so that he could win it himself.
I would love to do that for myself.
He made Mark present it to him, and Mark and John did some coke together.
That happens. Actually, yes, that all happens in the movie.
Yes,
and
it
it's
does.
a hilarious scene because while John is making Mark do coke with him, he's having Mark recite the statement he's going to say when presenting the award. And he keeps like telling him, no, you're saying it wrong. It's got to be philanthropic and blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And like he keeps twisting the words. So then Mark's like, huh? What? Huh?
Yep. So Mark was now wrestling for Foxcatcher, obviously, but he was debating on throwing the match so that John didn't get a win for his league, his team. Eventually Mark quit. Did Mark quit or did he get fired? I couldn't remember.
He got fired.
Okay. And Dave came to work for him, but Dave came before he quit or got fired, right?
No, that's movie.
So Dave came after. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, but they had made an agreement, and basically, like, when one brother is working there, the other one's getting paid.
That's right. They did that in the movie too.
They did. In the movie, they go to this, like, tournament, and this is where DuPont meets Dave. And DuPont very much is like, oh, I want to meet your brother. And Mark's excited to introduce them. So he takes him up to Dave's room and it's like, this is DuPont. And excitedly introduces him to Dave's family. And they all say hi. And then Dave's wife like says hello from the other side of the room where she's with her children. And then when DuPont leaves, Mark throws a fit. He's like, how dare you couldn't even get up and come over and
Wow.
meet him. I was like, she said hello.
Right.
Like, what else do you want her to do? In the movie, Mark really only has one coach, and it's always Dave. There's no other coaches around for him. And I guess it's so that we can see the like brother relationship. But yeah.
Okay.
Oh, also, I have a note here that says John does coke way more in the movie than it states in the book. Like I feel
Right.
like it was like
he only
all the
did it
time.
one time in the book
Yeah.
because at the end, that's part of the thing that was questioned for his sanity. Was, oh, he did coke, so he must be insane. And then he couldn't deny it because he did it with him one time.
Yeah.
Bummer. So Mark and his girlfriend were living on the DuPont farm, and even though Mark didn't work for John anymore, which was, I found that strange, but he was allowed to stay there. And one day though, John comes in holding a gun and chatting and like making a sandwich and all this sort of stuff. Freaking weird. Rumors go around that John is gay, but he ended up marrying this girl for a few months, but she ended up divorcing him because he was showing violent behaviors.
What's funny is the movie does, I remember the first time I watched it, I almost felt like John could have potentially been gay because of how he had been reacting to the relationship that the brothers had, which I was also like, but that's weird. Like, it was weird because it could have been played off as he wanted a relationship with one of them, or he was jealous of the brotherly relationship and he wanted to be the brother.
I see it.
Also, in the movie, Mark is basically running the show, not John. And then John gets fed up with how he's running the show. And that's why he fires him. And then he makes... Mark did quit in the book.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, because he did get fed up. He was like, this is ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
what? But in the movie,
Yeah.
John fires him and then brings Dave to work. And then because of this, Mark and Dave now have an awkward relationship, which never happened in the book.
No.
It's just Mark's now getting replaced. So there's like, tension there. And Mark never like moved out. Like, I think Mark went back to living on the farm because he didn't have money. And so he needed a place to stay with his girlfriend. And they were like, well, guess we're coming back, John. And John was like, yeah, come back. Whereas in the movie, he just stayed. He was like, you fired me. This is my place now. I'm not leaving.
Odd. So Mark was able to finally get out of there, and he moved to Utah because he heard Park City had the best long jump for the Olympics in the U.S. Then he went to BYU, and he began working on the wrestling team, and he soon joined the LDS Church. I'm so proud to hear that. He practiced jiu-jitsu, which was very tough, but it turned out to be the best sport for him.
Is it jinjitsu or jujitsu?
I don't know.
I think it's jujitsu.
Jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu. I don't know. Sure. Jiu-jitsu.
I was like,
So Cameron used to work in Park City.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because, I drive up there all the time. And they're freaking the slopes for these jumps are just insane.
really?
Yes. Without snow on them. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I didn't drive up there very often in the snow. 'Cause
Yeah.
even though Utah knows how to deal with roads versus us down here,
Yeah.
up here. And it's like, but no, it's crazy.
Really?
It's just like,
But you know what's hilarious? I thought long jumping was the pole vaulting, actually. Now that we're talking about it.
oh no.
I'm like, wait a
No,
minute.
it's the Eddie the Eagle thing.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. No, it's the skis.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You jump.
Where they jump. Yeah, okay.
They jump long.
Well, I can deduce that. Yeah, that doesn't happen in the movie.
I know. I was pissed about it. I don't show him becoming a member of the church or anything. John is even more crazy than normal, and he's drunk all the time, and he like blew up a bunch of foxes for no reason, and he's assuming bugs are crawling all over his skin, so he's tearing his skin open, and he's becoming like psychotic.
This doesn't happen in the movie. The only scene where he's kind of crazy is where he walks into the wrestling room and starts waving a gun around.
And he shoots the ceiling.
Also, I thought it was weird because in the movie, John actually knew things about wrestling, whereas in the book, Mark makes it very apparent. He's like, he knew jack shit about wrestling.
So there's this fight that broke out, and they're at the hospital.
Oh, sorry. Let me say here, when part of why John went into the wrestling room and started going crazy is because this is now his mom has died during a tournament, and he's dealing with that grief.
Oh, yeah. So there's this fight that broke out, and at the hospital, John's like drunk yelling at everybody, and he told Dave, hey, I'm going to tell them this story, and you need to back me up with it. Well, Dave didn't, because Dave told the truth, and John got pissed. And eventually, he becomes fearful of the color black. So he fired all his African-American workers. He got rid of anything black colored on the farm, like logos or like towels or whatever. And John went wrestling in Bulgaria and Russia, and he paid them off so he could win.
Yeah, that does not happen in the movie.
Nope. So Dave came to visit Mark down in Utah, and Mark took him to Temple Square and showed him jujitsu. We decided jujitsu. And Dave ended up breaking his elbow. But it turns out it was already broken at some point throughout his career, and there were broken bone fragments in there, so he had surgery to remove them all. Fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so then Mark goes, so in the end, I helped Dave. I was like, okay. Jeez Louise.
The movie's basically done at this point now. So I'm just going to say Dave, John, and Mark all have a sit down because John's sick of Mark and he wants to get rid of him. And Dave's like, no, he's my brother. He's going to stay. And Dave is the one who says, if I'm here working for you're going to pay John too. Where it was John who actually came up with that way at the beginning. And then This happens like towards the end of the movie. And then, yeah, basically it shows us, because freaking John has this documentary get made of himself, basically. And he's having people get interviewed for it. And then he ends up watching, I think it's the trailer or the first cut of it. And that's kind of what pushes him over the edge. Because then he like, this is how it looked like to me in the movie. Obviously, we don't know what really happened because none of us are John. So maybe the movie's spot on. Maybe it's not. But he's watching this trailer thing. And that's when you see Mark say the thing about how he never had a father figure until he had John in his life. Then it's almost like John gets upset about the brother relationship that he has with Mark, that Mark and Dave have, because then that's when he gets in his car to go shoot Dave.
Yeah, I see.
And then in the movie, Du Pont doesn't get out of his car to kill Dave, which I think, why are you taking an actual murder and changing certain aspects of it?
Right.
Because like the whole thing was he got out of the car and was like standing over him shooting rather than sitting in the car like poo 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 pew 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 pew. Yeah, and the movie's done now.
Mm-hmm. Well, the book, Dave died on my birthday. I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to me.
Happy 4th birthday.
January 26, 1996. And Du Pont shot Dave when he was just coming up to the house, and he shot him in the driveway, and then he shot another guy. I don't remember who this other guy was, but he was with him. He was in the movie too.
Yeah. I didn't think he shot at him though.
He maybe just
I think he just
put his gun at
turned
him.
to aim. Yeah.
And Dave died in Nancy's arms, his wife's arms. Mark's dad called him at BYU to let him know, and he said, don't go anywhere, because he knew Mark would go and hunt down Du Pont. And then we had details on how the police came and arrested him.
I forgot that they showed the whole like standoff, even though it wasn't like a whole standoff in the movie, but they showed like the cops coming and getting him. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Whereas I did not realize he holed up in his house for like 24 hours.
Yeah.
And was sending, like, didn't tell anyone what was going on. It was just like, we have to stay in the house, and like would send some people out.
Mm-hmm. So then we have Dave's funeral, and his dad shared this really cool story that Dave had as a kid. He's like, I'm going to tell you my first memory. It was before I was even born, and there were 12 people around, and they said, you're destined, you need to pass this test. And he said, his dad's like, oh, are you going to pass the test? And Dave said, yes, I'm going to pass it, but I'm not going to be here for very long. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. As a parent to hear that, I would just be like,
shut your mouth.
Yes. You better be here
a long ass time.
So then we go to the court case, and Du Pont is deemed insane. So he gets some time in the mental hospital. And then prison from 5 to 40 years. Mark stayed at BYU as a wrestling coach for a while. And then he went through a divorce, lost his house, lost his kids, and he eventually phased out of wrestling. Dave's wife created a wrestling club in his honor. Mm. And if you're in high school in California and you get a wrestling award, it has Dave's face on it.
Cute.
Dave and Mark are mentioned as the best wrestling brothers the U.S. has ever created. And Du Pont ended up dying in prison at 72.
Right before he was about to like get to go up for parole.
Ha ha ha.
Mm-hmm. Take that.
And then this cool thing that was in Bri's copy of the book, but not the audiobook, was details on Mark's experience of having his book turned into a movie.
Yeah, I loved that. That was like my favorite part. I was like, whoa, he's doing an off script for us.
I know. It was so cool.
It was so neat.
Yeah.
It was sweet.
Yeah. He went and talked about how much he loved the casting choices and how awesome they all did. And
I loved how he said that Mark Ruffalo actually came up to him and was like, your brother loved you. And I was like,
I know, that was so sweet. And then he's like, when they were at the Oscars. He wore his medal, his gold medal, because that's the biggest honor in his field of work. And he knew this was the biggest honor in theirs. And it was just really, it was a cute little snippet.
It was. I liked it a lot. But that's it.
That was it. We did it.
Whoop, whoop.
IMDb cast 165 people.
That actually shocks me.
I know, it's a lot of people. It must be all the side
Probably.
wrestlers and
Yeah, the
Olympians.
like crowds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have Steve Carell as John du Pont.
Like I've said many times, this is my favorite role of his.
I mean, he did a good job. He was creepy, but good job.
Yes.
Channing Tatum played Mark.
Aw, he did good.
He did good. Mark Ruffalo played Dave.
You cast the wrong Mark. No. get it. Anyways, yeah, I love him as Dave. I think that's a good choice
I
too.
think so too. I think he did really good because I always pictured Dave as more the loving brother. And Mark is the tough one. And they both did a very good job at that.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Mark Schultz played weigh-in official number 1.
Oh, I had no idea.
That literally was in the, that's why I quoted it. It was in the little snippet you sent me. Oh my gosh.
I need to go back and reread this snippet. No, I was just focused on the like his premiere experience.
Oh my gosh.
And, like,
No, it was like, he was like, and Bennett even got me a cameo as weigh-in official number 1. So I was like, oh, okay. And I went and typed that in.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah, nope, I forgot.
Something we didn't mention up here that I actually found extremely impressive, it was in both book and movie,
Oh, yeah.
was how he had to make weight because he lost this first challenge. Like it's number like out of 3. He lost the first time, and he just like was pissed off and like he just kind of gave up. And so he went and vegged out and he just ate a bunch of food. And so he was like 12 pounds overweight. And Mark's like, no, we got to get, or Dave's like, we're going to get you where you need to be.
Because he thought he wasn't going to get to wrestle again. He thought he was out. And then Dave found him and was like, no, they're letting you wrestle, but you have to make weight right now.
Yeah. So he lost 12 pounds in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, what the
Fucking
heck?
insane.
That's bonkers. So I was really actually glad when they put that in the movie because I was like, that is so impressive. That better be showcased.
They need a movie just on that.
Yes. Holy cow. Oh my gosh. So weigh-in made me I wonder if that was when it was.
Probably,
Right?
Probably.
Oh man. Man, oh man. All right. Well, is the book and the movie the same?
You mean the theme
of it?
Well, yes, it is.
Yeah. Wrestling. Shooting, murders.
Yeah.
Do the characters stay true? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. For the most part, other than poor old dad.
Yeah. But Hollywood drama.
Yep. What you prefer?
Movie.
I don't know. Okay. I'm just gonna go movie. But the movie was just, the music is what made it so freaking awkward for me. So like, and yes, I get it. It's an artsy film. Like, oh. But the very first wrestling scene, it's Channing Tatum, Mark Ruffalo. And there's like no music. And it's just, you're just hearing them like grunt. And
Yeah.
it was so awkward and disgusting.
I didn't think it was awkward at all.
Oh my God.
I loved it.
I didn't. And then later on in the movie at some point, they're like doing a wrestling scene and it's like this tinkly piano music. And I'm like, what is that?
It's to make you feel uncomfortable.
It worked. It was not an enjoyable situation. But they got to the point quicker. And I didn't have to listen to wrestle talk.
Yeah.
So I'll go movie.
Yep. Would you recommend it to a friend?
No.
I would.
I would
have.
recommend it to Cameron's uncle is actually a wrestling coach. I'd be like, Uncle Keith, you probably like this one.
Yeah.
But other than that, no.
No, I recommended it. I love
Why?
Steve Carell. Steve Carell. For people who tell me that he can't do serious.
Okay, that I understand. I'd be like, go check this out. If you don't think he can. Because obviously, yes, this proves he can. I wouldn't recommend it for people to enjoy. That's just me.
You also have to realize I have a degree in film, and I wish more movies were made like this.
Oh, no. Well.
I wish that there were more artsy and passionate movies than movies that get made for the money.
Yeah.
And so, to me, this is what my degree stands for.
Okay. That's good. Okay. That's it. That's we did it.
Yeah.
We got a website, you guys.
Check us out.
Offscript 253, wixsite.com/offscript. Whoop whoop. We got our whole schedule. What's coming? Got some merch.
Social media posts.
Anything fun we've been up to. And possibly some new pictures soon.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be up now or...
Probably.
Yeah.
Since it's happening in a week.
Exciting.
Shout out to my cousin's boyfriend. But you should all go rate, subscribe, and review.
Every single episode and then the podcast overall.
Yes. Yeah. Did you know that the only way that a podcast app promotes or gets us to other people is by people giving us ratings and reviews?
I did not.
And subscribing? Yeah. So help us out, everyone.
Because if we get bigger, we get to do more fun things. What are those things?
Stay tuned to find out.
You let us know.
Giveaways?
Yeah, we could do giveaways.
Raffles?
If we made some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See? It would be fun for you too.
It would be. On Wednesday, we have mini-so that will probably be all about you.
Woo! That's what I want. And then Monday is actually one of my favorites. I am so glad we're finally doing this. I've started reading it and I was like, oh, it's taken too long for us. We're doing Ender's Game.
Yep. I know. I read this one in college.
This is one that I actually typically read once a year.
Oh, wow. Oh, you definitely have not.
Because I've been doing other books. Damn it. No.
Okay, you guys. Excited for Ender's Game? Should be fun.
It's going to be a blast.
Yes. And with that, Foxcatcher
Went off script. Bye.
Thanks for sticking with us.
We hope you enjoyed it.
If you did, we would greatly appreciate it if you gave us 5 beautiful stars, reviewed, and subscribed.
You can also follow us on Facebook at Offscript, on Instagram at Offscript Podcast 21, and on TikTok at Offscript_pod.
Shoutouts to Madame Ashen Creations for our adorable logo art.
And Adam Daniel for our incredible theme song.
And to Creative Cinephile Productions for producing our podcast.
See you next time.